Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we're going to be talking about special forces, or really all special operations, versus the infantry as it pertains to the global war on terror, and really analyzing, does the infantry and the Marine Corps not get enough credit, and are they overlooked by the public and society and Hollywood for their role in that war? Okay, now, for background, I was not an infantryman. I was what's called an 18 X-ray, so I came in, did basic training, straight to Special Forces Assessment Selection, made it through first try. My entire career was in Army Special Forces, but I've always had the utmost respect and admiration for the infantry and Marine Corps. And a lot of that stems from, for those of you who don't know, a huge percentage of the of Green Berets were actually infantrymen before they ever came into SF. And I always found it fascinating that almost all the guys that I knew and I was on teams with that came from that route always sort of considered themselves an infantryman first, which I thought is really admirable about that culture. Even, one of the guys I know who was in Delta Force for years, amazingly storied career over in the unit, recently inducted into Military Hall of Fame, and I was at his induction ceremony, and in his speech he made it clear about how he was an infantryman first. Okay, so I think it's really neat that the culture has that. Now, the reason I'm really making this is because if you look around at social media, podcasts, and TV shows, movies, special operations is highly glamorized and romanticized, right? Just looking at Hollywood movies over the last 10-15 years, okay? The big ones, what were they? Okay, recently, 12 Strong, about Green Berets, Lone Survivor, Navy SEALs, American Sniper, Navy SEALs, Black Hawk Down, Delta Force Ranger Battalion, Zero Dark 30, Navy SEALs. And, really the only big conventional movie I really was able to look up, maybe there's a few I missed, but was a movie like Jarhead, which was really a movie about a Marine who doesn't end up doing anything on his deployment, which is, I think, kind of disrespectful, because the infantry and Marine Corps really did a lion's share of the work, at least, especially in Iraq, and sort of the first 10 years of the war, especially, right? From a strictly numbers standpoint, if you look at the total number of people killed in Afghanistan and Iraq, American soldiers, over 7,000 estimated. Those numbers can be a little wonky sometimes. Of that, it's estimated about 660 of those 7,000 were special operators. So less than 10% of all soldiers killed in action actually came from SOF. Which not to say that necessarily every single 100% of the remaining were infantrymen or Marines, but a majority of those were. Okay, so infantry actually took substantially more casualties than any SOF unit did, right? And a big part of that is because of the type of conflict. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, special operations, what it's really designed for, especially when it comes to a large-scale conflict, is we are not the lead effort. Okay, we are a supporting effort to conventional forces. Okay, so conventional forces, let's say you have to take a country like Iraq, special operations are going to assist in a bunch of different ways the conventional units on actually trying to overcome and win that war. We're never going to be the lead element in a conflict like that. Where are we going to be a lead effort in a conflict like that? A unconventional warfare style conflict like Afghanistan or even Vietnam should have been, where special operations really lends much better as the main effort to an insurgency-based conflict. Okay, so if you look at some of the big nasty battles, and there's a bunch of them, okay, but just a couple of them, right? Obviously the most famous one from Iraq, Battle of Fallujah. Okay, well, there's two, but especially the second Battle of Fallujah. 6-week conflict, door-to-door, urban combat, estimated 3,000 to 5,000 insurgents, almost 100 soldiers killed, American soldiers killed in that battle. Super nasty. I showed some of my award citations in a previous video, and I'm cognizant that As impressive as some of those battles might look, they're nothing compared to what those kids went through in Fallujah or in Ramadi. I stand in awe of an infantry or Marine private that went through that battle. Amazing. Now, where do we see conventional sort of being a requirement? Because that's kind of the problem right now. Look at recruitment. It's like, oh, well, special operations is handling everything. Sure, you know, in unconventional style conflicts that we've been in, again, Afghanistan was really the lion's share of the back half of the 20-year war. But if you look at something, if we get in a first world conflict, us and Russia, China, North Korea, whoever, it will be, you know, the Marine Corps and the infantry and tank divisions that will have to do a lion's share of that combat and work again, and they will be assisted by special operations units. Even Green Berets, we are the biggest special operations units by numbers, by considerable margin. It would have taken basically the entire regiment to have fought the Battle of Fallujah. And I don't know if that would have even, that might have been enough, but I mean, again, it's just not something realistic, right? So hats off to all you infantrymen, Marines that fought, you know, in the global war on terror, and don't get the acknowledgement that I think you deserve, okay? And I saw it myself when we would actually take out 10th Mountain guys and 82nd guys on our operations, have them help us do uplift stuff, work with security for our JTAC team leader, things like that. And we had a guy shot in the chest on one of our missions, 7.62 round. Yes, he had body armor, thank God. Shattered his body armor, round came up, ripped open his neck here, and his unit, his own unit, his commander, conventional commander, was trying to refuse giving him a Purple Heart because supposedly we couldn't prove that the round was actually fired by a Taliban insurgent and not an A&A. Anyway, crazy, right? So we actually had to force through getting him the award he deserves. So you see a lot. I know there's tons of stories of that for guys that were, you know, in the Battle of Fallujah, which all of those guys should have Valor Awards, right? All of them that went through that crazy stuff. So, and also getting help for those guys once they get out, okay? This is the other thing that's kind of, I think, lacking, is for us special operators, man, we are significantly better taken care of by organizations when we get out, okay? SOF has just Special Forces, right? Has the Green Beret Foundation, the Special Forces Association, Special Operators Group. You have Honor Foundation, okay? These are just some off the top of my head that specifically work to help SF guys with their issues and they transition out. And there's really a lot lacking when it comes to the rest of you know, the infantry and the Marine Corps, which I think is disappointing. So I'm here to tell you, as a SF guy, that I highly appreciate your service and what you did to everybody that fought, that does not get, again, the credit that I think you deserve. So that's going to do it for that one, and you guys have a good day.